Hey guys, we're here with another episode of What's the Deal with my good friend Richard Woods. In this episode, we're going to be covering a lot. Brokerage owning, big brokerages, agents leaving, getting personal, getting emotional, and talking about what are the critical things that help new agents flourish in this ever-changing market. Stick around, you're in for a good one today.
What's the deal with all those old school real estate agents teaching outdated marketing techniques and living in the past? This show is about fresh ideas in real estate, diving deep into marketing, design, home renovations, and business development. But we also talk about lifestyle, health, travel, and just living an incredible life. Because the fastest way to financial freedom and fun is through real estate. It's time to build up your real estate business, serve way more clients, and have a blast doing it.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of What's the Deal. Today, we have a very special guest, my former broker, mother broker, friend, mentor, Mr. Richard Woods. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Seth. Thank you for inviting me.
This is a privilege and an honor. This is going to be so fun. And we're going to dive deep into some things along the lines of like owning your own brokerage, how you got to where you are today, what are the pros and cons of having your own brokerage, and just kind of the personal aspect between you and I. And it's going to be, it'll be cute. It'll be cutesy, as Richard
really
says.
Diving into that?
We're going to dive into that. And, we'll get a little emotional
I'm
here.
already wiping away some tears. Look at me.
I know. That's the concealer.
Or is it the Botox?
It's the Botox. So, Richard, we've known each other for a while.
Long
I know
time.
Dimitri Taylor introduced us a while back.
Let's do a shout out to him.
Hey, Dimitri. Thanks for the intro. And, a lot of people in our community look up to you. I look up to you. A lot of people love you. And I don't think I've really heard or remember, I'll say I don't remember, just how you got into the industry, how you became broker extraordinaire, and really what got you to where you are today.
Well, I appreciate that. How I got into the industry. Well, as you know, I'm an attorney. Actually, I like to say I'm a recovering attorney. I don't practice law much anymore. I do a little bit of estate planning. However, that was my trade. And I had a life experience working in DC. I lost a partner to AIDS at the time, and I was 31 and I wanted a life change. So I'd never lived anywhere but the East Coast, grew up in Virginia, moved to DC. So Southern California seemed like the right place to go. Arrived here, did a master's degree while I had some time off, and then met my spouse that you know for 29 years now.
Wow, shout out to Kevin.
Shout out to Kevin. 29 years as of July 4th. And
wow.
We will have been married for 9 years as of October. Anyway, he was a banker. We were interested in getting involved in real estate because of people that he knew, and he was managing portfolios where he saw people investing in real estate. He saw the success of that. So he was going to pursue his real estate license. He saw that banking wasn't necessarily going to be a long-term career for him, and he was always interested in real estate. Well, he's not the scholastic person that I am. Not to fault him, he'll even admit it himself. But he saw when he read in the materials to get a real estate license that as a licensed attorney, I could just immediately take the broker exam. So California, in its infinite wisdom, deemed me, because I had a law license, to be so intelligent that I could just automatically be licensed as a broker.
You just walked right in, and you're like,
if I just
done.
passed the test. I had these two cotton hair ladies, this is when people could still smoke in the testing room. No, I'm kidding. But
But not really.
These two proctors that were like, they must have been the daughters of God or something. I don't know. Yeah, I know. And I did my multiple choice test, and I got my broker's license strictly on the intention to represent Kevin and me to buy investment property. We were thinking at an early age, which I advise everyone when you have the opportunity, to start taking some seed money and buying investment property. So
you encouraged me to do that in the very beginning as well.
I sure did. We're going to get into that.
We
too.
sure are.
Yes, we are. And so one thing led to another. I eventually went to back to practicing law, which I did not really want to do. I had to work in Orange County, blah, 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 blah. I was doing all this traveling, and it was just awful. And Amber, who you know, my transaction coordinator and executive assistant extraordinaire, if she's watching this, gave me my first 2 leads, my first 2 listings, in fact. So once I got into it, I was just like, wow, this is kind of cool and way easier than practicing law. So there you are. That's how it all started.
Wow. Okay, so the first couple years were just solo.
Absolutely solo.
Okay, solo, kind of representing you and Kevin. And you know what's so side tangent for 2 seconds?
Yeah.
I drive by your guys' house over on whatever
Brooks
it's
Terrace.
Yeah, right over
One
here.
on Brooks Terrace.
Yeah, right over here. No, it's the house. No, it's the house. That's you go down Richmond, I think it is, or Vermont.
Richmond. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Brooks Terrace.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I drive by every day, and I always think of you guys. So.
Oh, that's so
even though I
sweet.
know
Thank
you owned it a long time ago. But
Long time ago, we put our stamp on it. It was our second house that we owned together. Oh no, actually no, that was the first one. That was
I think that was the first one. You said that was the first
because
house.
he lived in Talmadge when I met him. And
Yes.
He bought that house for like $100,000 or something like that, and sold it for $275,000.
You're like, Rich.
Big regret. I'm going to look right in the camera. Don't sell your real estate. That house is probably worth $1.3 or $4
At
million
least
right
I
now.
remember we looked at it actually when it was on the market, and
Oh
you're like,
my
it was
gosh,
$1
we
million.
did.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh my god, it's $1 million.
Oh, the one on Brooks Terrace.
Yeah.
Oh no, the one on Brooks Terrace is worth way more than that.
Way
the
more
one
than
in
that.
Talmadge I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
That he owned on Natalie. No, it was Estrella. He owned on Estrella. He bought for like $100,000, sold for $275,000. That house would be worth at least 1.4 right now.
At least.
You know, and his mortgage payment was like $800 a month.
Oh my god. So
Right?
don't sell your real estate.
Don't sell your
You
real
heard it
estate.
from Richard Woods. Don't sell it, even though we're trying to sell it for you.
Well, we can get into that too if we have enough time.
Yeah.
But, you know,
But I mean, so you guys were. It was just you and Kevin. You were representing yourself. You
that's it.
you had clients. So when did the whole brokerage thing start?
well, it
and how
started
did it start?
Immediately, because I had my broker's license.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking, I'll just do this thing on my own. I don't really want to manage people. I certainly didn't want to, take on agents like Seth,
Troublemakers,
reigning in
feisty,
Seth Struiksma.
sassy queens.
Yes. And I worked out of a loft space over in North Park on University, near Ray and University. Huge loft space, and I just had this desk area, and I thought I can just do this on my own. It's not that complicated, and everyone wanted me to come join the big brokerages and do that sort of thing. But I was very independent. Well, I still am very independent. You know that. You've worked with me.
Yep.
And it just seemed to be the right fit for me at the time.
But so, I mean, obviously you became a broker, but then now it's Woods Real Estate Services, and
Correct.
there's other agents, and there's
Yes.
a ton of people. So how did that happen? How did people start coming on board?
Yeah, that's a
your
great
brokerage?
question. It just happened organically. As I mentioned, I wasn't pursuing anyone. So Steve Carlson, who you know,
Yeah.
who's been with me for the longest time,
Yeah.
for the probably 17, 18 years.
Wow.
Wow. I know. It's been a long time. Oh my God.
You don't look a day over 100. Just
Well,
kidding.
thank you, darling. It's the bro talks. Anyway, yeah, Steve came to me first organically, and it was through meeting people, just going, as you know, we have a weekly meeting called the Metro Caravan for the areas here in Metro San Diego, just being present and being who I am, being authentic. Steve was the first one to come to me, and then organically people would come to me. I wasn't doing any active recruiting. I didn't want to manage people. I
Yeah.
did not think that was in my future. Even mentoring people was not a part of what I thought would be a skill set that I had, or something that I would eventually, honestly, I've become pretty good at it. So, after that, and I would say about year 7, 8, 9, I started to think, I could actually do this and hand select or choose people that would fit well within the organization or the mindset that I have and the goals that I have.
Yeah, and I think that's what served you. I mean, it's what's been the best for you too. It's like they just organically come and they
Yes.
just fit with the vibe and the energy and what you give to everybody. I mean, let's go into like being a mentor, because that's truly, I think, where you shine in comparison to other places. I mean, there's big brokerages and there's boutique brokerages, but I think the broker or the team lead person is really what makes it what it is. And I mean, you've been a mentor for, many, many people, I'm sure, including me. And I guess just what changed? What was the shift after year 9 or so?
Well, it just sort of clicked with me that I have these abilities, not to be egotistical or anything. I have practices and procedures. I have a business philosophy that I can impart to other people, as long as they are consistent with how I view the world of real estate and just how I view the world of treating people. I have an accumulated experience through my law practice. So I'm strictly ethical. You remember all that.
Yes.
And I follow the rules, and I abide by the rules, sometimes probably pretty strictly. But I just wanted to foster people that could really genuinely help people. If that's the purpose that you come into it, and you're not looking at commissions and you're not looking at how much can I earn off of this transaction, I can truly help people, then I felt I could build a practice on that, which I fortunately have done, and you were a part of it too. So thank you.
100%. When I was with you, I remember specifically, Richard, was buy the book. And if you made one error, he would slap your hand and say, "What are you doing? This is what the contract says. You need to follow the contract." I'm like, "But it kind of is bend a little bit." No, it's not. No, it's not. So you've cultivated an army of agents basically that have been under you that do follow the rules, and you've done a really great job with that. So
well,
thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you for acknowledging it. Here's the thing, which you have learned along the way through me and other experiences that you've had in your career. We are a self-policing profession.
Yeah.
Very difficult to do that. You have run into people. Let's face it, there's a minimum requirement to get into this profession. Yeah. You just have to have a minimum score, and you get a license, and someone says, "Yeah, you're qualified to sell real estate, and you're ethical, and you're this and you're that." It's not the case, and I pride myself on holding true to a high ethical standard. Also having some fun. Hopefully, I was fun.
You definitely were fun.
I'm still fun.
We started happy hour at 3:00 almost every day,
yeah,
but then still worked afterwards.
And
not on contracts, but other things.
It's a very social business.
It is.
So you have to be equipped to be very social. I like to tell people I am an introverted extrovert. I can turn it on just like you can. You're wonderful at it, and I love your TikToks and your videos.
Thank you.
Even though I give you, can I say the S word?
Yeah, you can say whatever you want.
I give you shit for it just because I am your mama broker.
Yes.
So I love to
It's
tease
from a
you.
loving
It's from a very
angle. I
loving
love it.
space.
Yes,
but I love that you entertain people, and that's the thing. We are out there and we're socializing, but there are times when because you are on, you probably get this, you understand it, you're on and you're on and you're on. And there are times while I want to go into an active area, I just want to shrink into my own space.
Yeah.
So
as I've gotten older, it's funny. As I've gotten older, my God.
Yeah, I can see the gray hairs, darling.
It's intended to see the grays.
Yeah,
it's my daddy era.
I know.
My daddy
I
era.
know. You used to want to cover all that stuff
I'm embracing it. I'm embracing it. But as I've
There's
gotten older...
power in embracing it, by the way.
Yeah, no, there is. As long as I don't have wrinkles, I got hair. I'm good to go, okay? No wrinkles, but I got hair. It's working.
You taught me that a long time ago, and I just embraced it myself. So
Good.
Get rid of the wrinkles.
I mean, it's sexy, So I think as I've gotten older, it's been interesting. This year's more particularly have noticed, hey, I'm enjoying where I'm at in life. I'm enjoying the road and the success, but I need to have me time. And a lot of the times in the past, I was just go, and really be on 100% of the time. And now I'm realizing, oh, that doesn't really serve me. It doesn't really allow me to recharge. It doesn't allow me to refocus. It doesn't allow me to just kind of be with my thoughts a little bit. And so I think that's a good point.
Well, it's absolutely a good point. I'm so glad that you've reached that perspective in your life. It's important to be who you are and authentic, and recognize that you need that rejuvenation. You need that period of time on your own, because this is a 100%, 1,000% business. If you want to succeed, you have to be on it all the time.
Yeah.
You have to be all about it and engrossed in it. I love that you have you've widened your perspective, and you've taken some time to explore your artistic side with your DJing. You've taken time to be with your family. You've taken time to go down to Puerto Vallarta and do your thing that you do, because when we're on, we're on.
Yeah.
And it's kind of nonstop. So
That's an excellent point, because it's so true. I mean, I think there's always a joke that a real estate agent in the group, you can always identify them because they're the one on the phone in the corner doing a deal or doing something. And it's true. I mean, there's so many times when I am in Puerto Vallarta and I have my computer and people are like, oh, so much fun. You have so much fun. It's like, yes, I do have fun, but I still have to take time to still work and do things.
That's right.
At all times. At all times. There's really no shutting off. Even if you do have someone that's helping you, you still are that person.
if you're going to be really good at this business, great at this business, that's how it has to happen. And you learn to blend it into your life.
You do.
You just really do.
You do. Let's get back to the brokerage. So, there are big brokerages, EXP, Compass, Real. There's all these other big brokerages, and then there's boutique brokerages. I would love the audience to know kind of the pros and cons from your perspective of both.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you obviously have a boutique brokerage. And
and I have dabbled in the thought of joining one of those larger brokerages year after year. And one of the larger ones, and I won't mention the name, did exactly what they've done to many and offered me gobs of cash and all kinds of perks and promises. It just didn't jive with who I am as a professional and just as an authentic human being. So the advantages of a boutique brokerage. By the way, it's important to note, the National Association of Realtors, 80% of the membership of NAR are they don't call them boutique. I guess that's too bougie for NAR.
Okay.
I don't know. But small brokerages, and that's, less than 50 or more agents and so on, 80% of the membership of NAR.
Wow.
80%.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Now, we don't have the volume and the numbers as the bigger brokerages do, but in any event. So here's the advantages, and you quite well know these. I am the broker, and I'm still actively selling property. So I understand the marketplace probably better than office managers at bigger firms and the designated broker in bigger firms. You have immediate access to your broker. If I can't get to you, I will at least text you and say, I got what you're talking about. Let's just talk later. It's more intimate. We have a more family-oriented environment. Not that the larger firms don't have a culture that they promote. I just think that we tend to gel better. We don't pit one another against each other. And I'm not familiar with the bigger brokerages if they do that, but I know that they like to tout award-winning people and top producers and that sort of thing. We don't do any of that. We just talk about best practices. You probably recall some of the office meetings you were in. So we have office meetings where we talk about what we need to, regulations, new forms, all that sort of thing. And then we just have an open forum. What's going on in the marketplace? What are you seeing? What are you experiencing? Frankly, how are you feeling, especially in today's environment?
Yeah.
And so we bring that sort of personal touch, I think, to people. The advantage of being in a bigger brokerage is you're going to have larger investments, I think, with internal marketing pieces. I haven't experienced them. I don't know how well they work. I've been told that everything operates pretty well that way. You're going to get larger national campaigning. You may get some support. I don't know. It probably would be best, in my opinion, if you're in a bigger brokerage, to join a team or have a good team lead, because you're not going to get that one-on-one experience. Training is key, though. I think, especially like Keller Williams. Keller Williams has a really, really good training program. I've had some younger agents come to me and not know what they want to do and where they want to go, and I often will tell them to go to some company like Keller Williams because of the internal training program, at least for 6, 8, 12 months.
Yeah.
I can't offer that as a smaller brokerage. Our finances are really tight with respect to what we can provide to our agents. Thankfully, the internet and the world of all this technology has brought it to where we can piece together things, make it economical for our agents. But larger firms obviously can create those same things, replicate them internally, probably for less cost.
Yeah. I think also it comes down to the person too. I mean, a big brokerage, small brokerage, whatever you choose, it comes down to the work ethic of the individual too.
Of course
like
it does.
you can be really successful in a small brokerage and you can be really successful in a large brokerage. It just comes down to your work ethic. If you're willing to commit 100% to it, or treat it like it's a part-time job and expect full-time job results. So anyone can do well, I think, in both scenarios. But yeah, like in a small brokerage, you were readily available at all times. And I mean, with a larger brokerage, it is more difficult to get a direct answer of like, hey, this could be a legal situation. What do I do? And it takes a couple days to get that answer sometimes.
And that's critical because in today's market, and it's been this way for the past several years, probably since you got into the business, you don't have that kind of time.
Exactly.
You have hours to get the answer because you're probably competing against multiple offers and a property that's going to go into escrow within days, not weeks or months. So it's calmed down somewhat
It
in
has.
the last 12 to 18 months.
Yeah,
but
it's calmed down. It's
it's
definitely
still
calmed
critical
down.
to get those responses immediately.
That's the most. I think that's one of the most important values at a small brokerage is the immediate access to your broker.
Yeah.
And a mentor really. So, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, you were talking about how you're recommending all your agents or anyone really that you come across to get into real estate as soon as possible. And I want to say this was like one of the most important things that you pushed me to do probably ever. So more than anything else, more than making fun of all my videos, more than taking me to happy hour at 2 p.m. and getting me drunk on Cabernet, more than any of those, it was buying a piece of real estate as soon as you could. And
absolutely.
And I encourage everyone too that I meet, or anyone that's an agent that works with me too, it's like the second you have a little bit of success, put that money to work and put that money into a piece of real estate. I don't care what the interest rates are. I don't care where it is.
Doesn't matter.
Buy smart, buy
matter.
something.
Yeah.
And you pushed me to do that. It was such a shithole, but you came with me, and I remember we're tiptoeing around like, ew, what is this place? Like, what is this?
I don't think I was doing that. You certainly were doing that.
You literally left your jacket in the car. You're like, oh, this is
I do remember that.
This is south of the 94. I don't come here. Oh my God. And it was a duplex in Logan Heights, and it was lit, but I
you
bought
had
it.
the vision though.
I did, and I
Huge
did.
lie.
I did.
And you had the vision, and you'd always aspired to do it. And I was like, stop talking about it and let's get on with it.
Yeah.
Let's just get on with it. Difficult seller.
seller.
The son lived in the property.
The son lived in the property.
Didn't want to get out, and we had all these issues.
And we had a loan issue too.
Oh
I remember
my
literally
gosh,
I was about to buy it, and the lender said, "Oh, we can't qualify anymore," or something with guidelines, blah blah blah. And James Carmody, actually, who I still work with, James Carmody, shout out. He came to the rescue and helped me buy it. FHA 310, I think it was, for a little duplex.
But you had vision for it.
I did.
And you had vision for more units going on that
Yeah.
property, which was inspirational at the time because the state laws weren't as accommodating to expanding in that kind of situation.
At the time, it could be zoned for 7 units, but now it's zoned, I'm not even kidding you, 36 units could be built on that.
Lot. Wow.
And I remember it's been sold twice now, and I think it's up to like $800,000 because it's a development opportunity. So
you had such vision. You have really good taste, and you have really good ability to see what a property can be. But that's from your past experience when you graduated from SDSU, and you had the partner. That
I had a business partner.
That you were trying to get into flipping or developing at
we
that
did.
time. And
we did. And we flipped probably like in 4 years, probably like 50 houses together. And it was successful. He went off and kind of did his own thing. He got married, had kids, took a little bit of a break. And that's when I got back into sales. And it's been great ever since. But now we're shifting and going back into flipping, going back into that realm.
it's that's your thing.
Yeah, I love it.
And
I love it.
And you made that clear when you came over to join my office that was your thing. And I respected that, and I was grateful that I had the opportunity to be with you and mentor you and get you that first property. Mm-hmm. By the way, any real estate agents that are watching this that don't own real estate yet, you should. If you sell in your market, you should own a piece of real estate in your market. Mm-hmm. I can understand that people say, well, it's beyond my reach, or they have all these negative thoughts about it. there's a way to do it. And if you can't do it on your own, you can do it co-ownership. Now, Seth did his first property on his own, but then you did that one on Kearney
with Eric, my
with
business
your
partner. Yep.
business partner. And I, as a lawyer, can do a co-ownership agreement, and that's the way to do things to get it structured properly. But if you don't feel like you can do it on your own, you can always find other people to do investments with.
Yep.
Now, do it smartly, right?
Yep.
I've known
Eric for a long time.
So you trusted him. That's the kind of thing you have to have, and that's why you need an agreement, because you have to have an exit strategy. Because when the minds don't meet anymore and the investment purpose isn't aligning, then you have to have a way out of it.
Yep.
So.
Yep. And you helped us structure the partnership, and it's still in play. So I guess having a brokerage and having people, naturally people are going to leave, and people just either move out of state, or they move on, or they figure out something else. How do you handle it as a broker?
They just aren't good for it.
What?
They just aren't good for real estate.
Some aren't. Yeah. I mean, and I experienced.
It's not for the faint of heart. Let me tell you, don't everyone run out and get a real estate license because you think Seth and I do our job so extremely well. You really do. I do too.
Yeah, you do too.
That we make it seem, which is our job, that it's effortless for our clients. But
it's difficult with people. I mean, you get attached to people. You become really friendly with people, and
it's a family.
And I just experienced this last year, at the end of last year, and it was gut wrenching and extremely sad. But yes, one of my closest friends and an agent on my team decided to leave for another brokerage. I wish him well. And the time I was so sad. I think that was the emotion that I was feeling. Not angry, but just sad. Because you lose that daily connection with someone. But how do you handle it, and what do you do since I left? Because that was so sad. That was so sad. When it was
emotional.
That was emotional. And
I think I recall I was I attempted to be very reserved about it, but inside I was like torn apart. And
I know.
There were many things I wanted to say to you at the time. Which is why I criticize your videos now, because I can get it all out.
Oh my God. But that's an ongoing thing.
I have learned that over the years. You mature, and you're right. Things are fluid within a brokerage. Large, small, whatever, medium, it doesn't matter. Things are fluid, and people have to grow in the direction that they need it to. I recognized when you came to me that you had ambitions that I couldn't fulfill. Maybe I could have, I don't know, but I honestly don't think I had. And I think that I had taken you, I'd mentored you, I'd mothered you.
You sure did.
To a point that it was time. It was like any parent. It's, send them off to college, send them off to the next thing. It's all going to be good. In fact, I just had an experience yesterday with one.
Oh.
With one that I just mentored from getting licensed and up to 3 years, and this agent doing 0 transactions to doing huge volume last year. 7 transactions, when 71% of the agents last year did 0 transactions across the country.
Yeah.
I got him up to 7 transactions and over $100,000 of gross commission income. But, it wasn't enough, apparently. So that person needs to go on. And that's what you just have to do. By the way, it's a lot of meditation, too.
Meditation
and red wine.
This
really
is a
works
new one
me.
for Richard Woods. It used to be just red wine.
Yeah.
And now no meditation.
I know, no meditation. So, it's a recognition that it's not necessarily me. There have been some times in the past where it's been the agent and me have just not met eye to eye, because I have, again, that strong ethical component and family-oriented way of running business. But it's just growth. That's what it is. It's growth. And other people will come.
Yeah.
Behind you. The other people will come behind you, and
sure.
And you and I have remained good friends, and I'm happy to answer questions that you have to an extent. And the other agents that have left. The good thing is we're all a community here, and we remain friends, and that's just how you have to look at it.
And that's what I've noticed. First of all, I'm so happy that you said it's not a personal thing. I don't think it's majority of the time a personal thing. It's 100% not a personal thing, at least for me, and I think other people that feel like they need something else. It's not a I don't like Richard thing. It's a oh, I think I just need to. This is what I'm gravitating towards, and maybe this will help me to get where I need to be. Maybe
For sure.
And so, because that's the realization I had
Yeah.
with the agent on our team that left, and I was like, it's not personal, and I had to realize that.
But when it first happens, the very first one
First
happens,
time, yeah.
I remember the first one that happened to me, and I won't name any names, but I was like fighting to keep, it was a team, I was fighting to keep them, 2 people, and a more experienced broker than I that I've been good friends with, who actually represented Kevin and me in a couple of our purchases and sales. It was so funny. And I told him what happened, and I was distraught about it and how upset I was. And he basically, like Cher in Moonstruck, he was like, snap out of it. Snap out of it. You owe them nothing. You don't beg them to stay. You don't give them anything. You don't negotiate anything. You say, give me your key. There's the door. Thank you very much.
I'm glad you didn't. Well,
I
you kind of
handled
did
it
that
a little
to me.
bit better than that. But I just laugh about it because it was kind of a shocking thing to me. It was like, it just is what happens.
Yeah.
So
It's sad. It's definitely sad because the dynamic definitely changes. But you grow. You definitely grow as an agent, as a broker, as a person from that
team
experience.
lead, whatever you are.
Because I mean, I'll say personally, it snapped me into gear for sure. I was like, wait, what? I thought we were good here.
What did I? Yeah.
What did I
thought-
do?
Yeah. What did I do?
And then you do
if
realize
you're a good person, that's what you do. You introspect. You're like, okay, what could I have done better? How could I have managed this system better? How did I not respond to this agent? Did I respond to this agent? I think I did respond to this agent. And then you evaluate from there.
And it is growth. It allows you to grow because sometimes in that introspective moment, you identify, okay, you know what? I can see where I went wrong, or I can see what happened, and then you change. I mean, it shook me to my core. And I remember I had a conversation with that person afterwards, and was like, Seth, we were working, but we were having so much fun, and I think work needs to be a little bit more work. And I said, well, I can see that, and that individual has done very well, and he's doing well, and I obviously am still friends with him. But that made me realize, you know what, you're right. I do have a lot of fun, and I think it's now time to be team lead and focused real estate professional all the time, and have fun in increments here and there. But I will say this is the year of no for me. So I'm saying no to fun and yes to a lot more professional
Absolutely
stuff.
nothing wrong with the word no.
There's not. There's really not.
There's a great. You should investigate these people because they're wonderful. Hillary Saunders. Do you know her? She's founder and one of the chief brokers at Side. Have you heard of Side?
Yeah, I have.
Oh my God, love that company. And Scott, and I can't remember Scott. Sorry, Scott, I can't remember your last name. Starts with a D. Anyway, they did a presentation at the LGBTQ plus Real Estate Alliance conference, and it was all about no. How no is actually can be a very positive thing, and it's freeing and appropriate at times to say that word. No,
It's freeing for sure because you feel relieved afterwards. You're like, oh, okay, I can do what I want to do.
Well, we in this industry have such a need to answer to and satisfy everyone's wants and needs, and I can make that happen for you. I promise you, I can make it happen for you. Instead of saying no, I'm not going down that path. I have no business. Trying to do that
personally
for you.
and professionally.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
there's
exactly.
you try and please everyone professionally, and then you try and please everyone personally, and you can't do it.
Yeah.
I will say, and I admire this about you. You are authentically Richard Woods, and I love that. and everyone loves that. I mean, meaning you are an advocate for the LGBTQ community.
Yes.
You are a mentor to many people in your brokerage and out of your brokerage. You are, caravan rule person, which I love. It's hilarious to watch. And you're just a figure in the community. How has that affected you? How has that shaped you? How has that kind of molded you into the person you are today?
I hearken back. There's an old word. Hearken.
Siri, what does that mean?
I know, right? When I first started going to the Metro Caravan, it was the life-changing experience in my career. one of the life-changing experiences of my career. And I met a broker at the time, Jenny Ollis.
Yeah, Jenny.
You know
Jenny? Yeah.
Yeah, she's pretty much fully retired now. Anyway, she's quite the character, still is quite the character. She was a character then. And I was inquisitive. She mentored me into running Metro and the importance of getting to know people within our real estate community and the profession, that they weren't necessarily, I mean, we're all competitors, but we're not at all.
Exactly. We're not. I hope everyone hears that. We're all a unit.
We thrive together or we die together. That's the whole thing. And I've taken that perspective throughout my stint with Metro and running that community, and just that free, open exploration of best practices amongst the community, and no competition within the Metro meeting, and no recruiting in the meeting and things like that. I have to say, though, what I'm most proud of is my commitment to the LGBTQ plus community, especially now in the environment we're in, the political environment that we're in. I am proud of starting the first chapter for the LGBTQ plus Real Estate Alliance, a national organization that supports equal and fair housing for all people, primarily focused on our community, but we work with what we call our sister organizations, ARIA, NAREP, NAREB, the Hispanic Real Estate Association, the Black Association, the Asian Association, to make sure that we have laws that are opening up housing, because believe it or not, in this day and age, 2025, there are still impediments to all kinds of marginalized people owning homes or just even renting homes. I think that has inspired me to be even more open in my career, to be even more wanting to help people understand what real estate does for people, generational wealth, understanding that I have a responsibility to make sure that everyone is represented in this profession, that everyone's represented in home ownership, and do what I can on whatever level I can to make that possible.
Yeah, and I love that you don't shy away from being that person, because, even today I'm like, I'm out and proud and happy with who I am. But there are sometimes when I'm like, I'm going to put my straight hat on a little bit today and kind of reserve a little bit. But there's times where I'm like, who cares? I'm going to be me.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, you don't like it.
Given where we are again politically in this country, and the things like, recently the Stonewall National Park Service, Stonewall, historical monument in New York City, that the LGBTQ was amended to just be LGB.
Yeah.
So they're literally, the entities, the government is erasing people from our experience. And I just find that horrific that that's happening. But it harkens back to, again, there's that word again. Oh my God. I feel like, is this the 1880s? Could I have a sip of tea, Seth?
I'll spill the tea with you, but
oh my God,
sip of it.
I don't know. Anyway, I'm an AIDS generation person. I had a partner who died of AIDS. That was the impetus for me to move to Southern California. Is at 31 years old, I had a partner go through the horrific experience of it. And no matter what I could do and the connections I had with NIH through my law firm and other things, I couldn't save him. And I saw the darkness of it all. And I became an activist. At that point, I wasn't out quite yet. I mean, it was out to an extent, but then I was really out. I was like militant about being out. And then I kind of calmed down over the years. You get older, you mellow. But where am I going with this? I just, what people don't understand, and you just kind of said it yourself, there's times you put your straight hat on. Well, I don't necessarily put my straight hat on, but I'll relay this to you. There's your coming out, right? There's your coming out. Like, you come out to your family, the people that are most important to you, and it's very emotional and it's a struggle, and you get through it and you're like, oh my God. You think, I don't have to go through that again in my life. But every single day of your life, you come out. You come out. If you're LGBTQ or anything else, frankly, unless your exterior, your the color of your skin and something is obvious, you have to decide in the moment, I'm not going to come out this time, or I'm just going to let this go. And I'll relate this experience to you. So we own that condo over in One Mission.
Yeah.
And we had it as a rental and the stove broke or whatever. And I had a repair person come over, great guy, very talkative. And he just kept saying stuff to me. I forgot what the conversation was relating to it, but I guess about his family. And he was like, do you and your wife have this conversation? Do you and your wife do this? And do you and your wife? And so in that instant, that's a moment of coming out.
Yeah.
So every single day or every moment, you can have a moment of coming out. Mm-hmm. So I quickly had to run through my mind, do I want my oven fixed? And I want to get out of here? Or do I want to come out to this guy and have a complete conversation with this homophobe?
Yeah.
Potential homophobe.
Yeah,
I shouldn't malign him. I didn't know what he was going to do, but I was like, damn it, girl, I want my oven fixed. Yeah, sure. My wife and I talk about that. So I didn't do the coming out card.
I love it.
But you weigh that as,
you do
as
every
an
day.
LGBTQ person. You weigh it every day.
Every day.
Oh my God.
I mean, I just showed houses to a dad and his son, and I was like, oh, this is a great area to go out. There's a lot of bars and restaurants over here. And I'm thinking, I just go out in Hillcrest. Like, I don't even know what's over here. I'm just saying there is.
Are you watching this program?
But they're probably not. And sorry if you are. But I mean, thank you for sharing. That's great.
Yeah.
And it's
what's refreshing is I want to interrupt you here because I just closed on a property on 7th Avenue, a couple from Tucson that found me on the internet, which is refreshing that people still can find me, because as we talked about, or we may not have dived into deeply, I'm a referral-based person.
Yeah.
I've taught you that. Yeah. Relationships are very, very important.
And I want to go back to that
I'm
in a
not
second.
a cold calling person. Anyway, this couple found me on the internet, and we had a Zoom interview and all that sort of thing, and they hired me, and I got the sense that they saw my involvement with the community, LGBTQ, the Real Estate Alliance, what I've done here with Mariah. You were a part of Mariah too. Thank you for doing that and taking the helm on that and supporting LGBTQ housing services, because now the center just does so many other things than the youth housing project that you and I were involved in. But when they finally came out here to see the property for the first time, they mentioned LGBTQ and my involvement with that, and how they were very involved with community services, and it was important to them to have somebody that was of that same thinking. So it is refreshing.
That is refreshing that you're being authentically you, and people are
authenticity.
Yes.
I would take that away from this conversation today. Always be authentic.
Yep. We had another guest on here too talking about authenticity and how
absolutely
the best way to have a thriving, happy life is to be authentically you.
Yeah. Well, and so that's overall true. And then in this profession, if you're not authentic, trust me, people can sniff out a script in a heartbeat. I've never used a script in my life.
Let's dive into that. I'm just curious how you've built your business over time. I mean, are you a TikToker? Are you doing dances to TikTok?
Have you seen my TikToks? They're terrible.
But I do want to
awful.
know, how have you built such a business, such a thriving business over the years, in the day and age when pigeons were delivering messages and there was no social
Seth,
media?
I've been around since God was a boy. He's a close personal friend of mine. In the beginning, because we did touch on this pre-interview, there were still those triplicate forms that you could fill out by hand.
The
Do you
what?
know what those?
No.
Oh my God! He just
the color copy ones were like white, yellow.
They were
gray.
triplicates. So they had like carbon
yes.
And you would write on them, and then the very last one had very faint, and that's the one you gave to your client.
What was it for? Like a contract?
It was the contract, the RPA, everything. It was
God, wow.
everything.
Okay.
And they were transitioning at the time that I was getting into the business to online stuff. It was very clunky and hard to do. Anyway, so back to how I grew my business. That's the original question. So thankfully, and I give all praise to him. I love him. I don't always like him, but Kevin has been an instrumental part of how I got started. My first listing was the daughter of a coworker of his. Not only a coworker, but they had been friends for years. So, and Amber was my first referral client.
Oh my
She
God,
gave me
really?
my first 2 referrals. Yes.
Oh my God.
So that was very interesting. And Kevin was then giving me more and more business through the bank where he worked and relationships that he had. So that was very helpful. Then you have to realize that, okay, I can't just rely on that. I've got to do my own work about it. I attended, and I don't know if he's still around or not, a 2-day pre-seminar thing over in Coronado that Joe Stump put on. Have you ever heard of Joe Stump?
No.
And it was called By Referral Only, BRO, By Referral Only. And he gave a lot of information. So much information for a few $100s that I paid to attend that. And then he wanted you to buy the program, like the coaching program, like the Tom Ferry's and all that sort of thing, which, by the way, they're great. Buffini, wonderful. I think, if that's your thing, then that's what you should do. And we can talk about the one we went to in Newport Beach, was it?
I think it was a Tom Ferry one. Yeah.
Jesus.
A scripting
anyway,
one.
Yes. So, but I got enough out of it that fortunately, I felt I had enough skills, even though I wasn't a true salesperson. And honestly, I do believe that that's been an advantage of mine, that I wasn't brought up in a sales environment or a script environment or these things, these old practices that many of the legacy brokerages, I won't call them anything else than that, but tend to teach agents. I realized that relationship building and referrals was the way I wanted to go. And I met more and more people that reinforced that with me, that you have to maintain relationships with people. It's much easier now. There are certain ways you can do it through social media. And I love Bomb Bomb. It's one of my favorite things. I think I promoted that to you.
Yeah, he did.
I love Bomb Bomb. And just being very social with people and staying in touch with them and being genuine. Not just staying in touch with them for the fact to stay in touch with them. Being, again, that word authentic and genuine. And I want to know what's happening. And I truly want to reach out to you when it's your birthday. And I want to know when the kids are born. And I want to know when you're sick. Oh my God, I have this great thing, Spoonful of Comfort. Have you ever heard of that
No,
company?
what is this?
Spoonful of Comfort. They do these magnificent custom soup packages with a beautiful ladle. And I've never actually seen one myself. My clients always send me photos of it. But when they get like COVID, when they were getting COVID, pneumonia or for the flu or whatever, I'd send them these packages.
Oh
and
my
they would
God.
get like these 2 containers of soup and like 6 cookies.
What's
and
it called?
biscuits. Spoonful of Comfort. And I would like a discount on my next order. Spoonful of Comfort.
Not an ad, but an ad.
Yeah, right. I'm not supposed to do that on this.
Well, it's fine. We'll see what happens. Maybe we'll get a sponsorship.
So anyway, I've just fostered relationships, and hopefully I believe that's what I've tried to instill in you and my other agents is, I mean, you can do it many different ways, right? We know those companies that have call centers.
Yes.
And that is a way to do business. I have never found being transactional part of who I am. I want to know and love and caress and be a part of and be too close and sometimes and touchy-feely with my clients.
But that's what your clients like about you, and that's why they come back, and that's how they refer you.
I hope so.
You know, I mean, if you were a salesy, transactional person, you may not have this book of business that you have. You know, you might have to still be generating new leads and new business because they're not sticking with you.
Yeah.
So it's great, and that's honestly something that everyone who's listening should embrace is genuinely connect with your referral or your past clients, your referrals, genuinely connect with people in general, because the more interest you show in people, they're going to pick up on that and they're going to want to learn more about you and support you and work with you eventually. So that's what I always tell people too. It's like, you can cold call, it works. You can do all these other things, but if you just genuinely stay in touch with people, show them that you care, they're going to come back and want to work with you. And it works every time.
Absolutely. But just like when you lose an agent out of your team or your family, when you get that client that suddenly says, well, I went with so-and-so.
That's happened. Or they don't even tell you.
It's
and
gut-wrenching.
You're in your list and you're like, I'm going to call this person. It's been 2 years since they bought it. And you realize it's been sold and you're like, excuse me?
Not even a call.
Not even a call. Not even anything.
Yeah.
And it was like, we had a great relationship. What the heck?
I stayed in touch with you. I invited you every party.
And sometimes we like again with agents leaving, it's like we can't take it personal.
Yeah.
It's what okay, maybe they're niece got their license and they had to sell for the first time, which that has happened. Yeah. But so in all the years that you've been working in the business, how long have you been in sales, in the real estate industry, I should say?
I'm on my 22nd year.
Oh my God, 22 years.
Yeah.
What would you say to your younger self getting in the business, prepping them for this journey ahead?
I was pretty rigid when I got into the business. I would say, chill out, relax a little bit. It's going to be just fine. Mm-hmm. Don't doubt yourself. You do have the capabilities. I would repeat what I heard from Gary Keller. I was fortunate enough to be invited by Ashley Lunn. I want to acknowledge her, one of the owners of the Keller Williams franchise here, to this mega camp, like 2 or 3 times. And I learned from Gary Keller, and if I could have told myself this before I went to these things, consistency is key to be successful in real estate. You have consistency, and then it's taken me a while to hone this, but your authenticity, we've talked about that multiple times today. Be consistent and authentic, and you will be successful. And just trust yourself. Mm-hmm. I'm so proud of you in so many ways, because I do see that you trust yourself now. You were doubting of some of your instincts in the beginning, but that's just natural. You were young and enthusiastic, and you had bright ideas, but you weren't sure. And I remember the things that you would do, and you were so good at it, and you would have these this fire hose of leads come in, and you'd be like, I got to shut it off. It's like, don't shut it off. Give it out to people. Share with people.
Yeah.
It's like, you're successful. Let's just go with it. Write it. This is all good for you. Look, you're turning red.
I am. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Oh, those are...
Trust yourself.
Yeah.
And hopefully you're trusting yourself now. I think you are. Because I see the confidence in you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a journey, and it's been a time.
How long have you had your license?
Since I was 18. I'm 36 years old. So
yeah, but you really haven't been active. I mean,
no.
Let's face it, Seth. When you came to me, you were a door opener.
I was. I was helping on a construction site, learning, how to flip a house. But like, sales was not my thing.
It wasn't.
Before coming to you. Yeah. No, I was like, I know how to flip a house, but I don't know how to flip a contract. So I don't know what I'm doing. And so, yeah, I mean,
but you learned quickly.
I did. And now I know it pretty well. And when I do still have like a little inkling of question, I mean, there is support to figure that out.
Yeah. But the smart thing that you had, which I don't think many agents understand, is you ventured out and you hired people to help you when you were getting busy enough.
Yes.
I don't advise it when you're first starting out. Finances are very tight, and you understand this. Everyone wants a penny from you, or a dollar, or whatever. Mm-hmm. Everyone has the magic touch and wants to sell you something that will make you a success. Mm-hmm. Only you can do that. Only you can make yourself a success. But you do need to recognize, and I got faulted for this. I would go to a lot of mastermind groups with other successful agents, and I would say, gosh, I think I'm at the point I need to really hire an assistant. I would say it over and over again. And then people would look at me and go, then do it. Why do you keep talking about it? Do it. Where you knew right away.
Yeah.
You hired Sherilyn.
Sherilyn, she jumped on board. Yeah, thanks,
and she
Sherilyn.
Was instrumental in your success.
She was amazing. And now we have
Good
Heather.
For you for recognizing that.
Thank you. That was scary. Very scary, because you don't know.
Well, you're committed to someone.
You committed, and they're committed to you, and you don't know. You're hoping that your income's going to keep growing, but it's scary. You're in charge of someone's livelihood, basically.
Then hopefully, you're getting to a point. Because when did you come to me? It was
2017, 16.
So 8-9 years. So you should be at a point now, and it took me a while to get there. It's like I know my income.
Yeah.
I can predict my income almost to the exact dollar. Mm-hmm. So I don't worry about having to pay Amber or paying the rent or the mortgage. Mm-hmm. I mean, there are certain times, markets do fluctuate.
Yeah.
And it was pretty tight, let's face it, last year. Mm-hmm. From like July on, and then it got a little bit better. And after the election, I was surprised it got like really better. Like people, no matter what your persuasion was, I don't want to get political about it, but one way or the other, people were like, okay, now I can exhale, and I have decision to make.
Yep.
And they started making them, then it kind of fell off again. But now we're seeing quite the activity in the marketplace. So.
It's definitely changing for sure. I think people, just like you said, just can breathe, and now they're making a decision.
And if you don't react to the noise of all of that, that's another thing that I've learned over the years. If you don't react to the noise of what the market is doing, there's always a market. If you're a really good real estate agent like Seth is,
and Richard,
and you're prepared, you can make money in any market. I remember you were just a baby then. The Great Recession. I thought, oh God, what am I going to do? I'm just new at all this. And I had colleagues that were saying, well, I won't do any short sales, and I don't sell mobile homes, and I don't sell condos, and I'm not going to do this, and I'm not going to go in that area. And I was like, for God's sakes, refer it to me.
Yeah.
I'll take anything and everything I could possibly get.
Yeah.
And I was 4 or 5 years into the industry at that time. And it was a struggle. I wasn't making really good money, but all of a sudden in around 2010, once the banks got on board and had departments to handle the short sales and foreclosures, I closed 11 in 1 month.
Wow.
Just like that. They had been pending for like 3 years, but boom, I was like, okay, now I'm onto something.
Yeah.
I'm onto something. And I will never be too proud. The goal of any real estate agent, in my opinion, is always try to increase your average sales price. That's how you make more money, with fewer transactions or whatever the case may be, and get into whatever you can as far as your luxury listings, if that's your niche market. But I will never refuse anything. I will never refuse to help a client that comes to me and seeks me out for my abilities. That tells me that they respect me, and I owe them a lot. In addition, now having 15 agents, it's a great opportunity for me to take a listing. For example, I've got one up in Riverside County. It's $490,000 single family detached home. Well, I'll partner with an agent on that. Why? I don't need to keep everything for myself at this stage of my career. Now's the time for me to help others to get a leg up. And by doing so, hopefully, as we have our relationship, I'll build a relationship with that agent, and then it'll just keep going on and on and on. And that's how you build longevity, I think, in this business.
I love it. Richard,
Did I just make you cry?
I mean, you brighten my day. I'll say that.
Oh, you're
so
such
thank
a
you.
sweetheart.
Thank you so much for coming on and just sharing your wisdom and opening up with us. This was so nice.
Well, it's just an honor and a joy that you asked me to be here, and we do have that special connection.
We do.
I wasn't happy when you left. I'm happy for you now, and I always love and adore you. You know that.
Thank you. I love you too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Hey there, if you like this episode or want a real estate connection in San Diego, find me on Instagram and subscribe so you don't miss any of these fun episodes. See you next time.